I took only my accordion, some clothes, basically boarded a bus, and came all the way here to London. In a couple of weeks, I met some people from advisory squatters organization, and this is how I got introduced into the scene itself and the movement by attending a few workshops where basically the how to say, the environment, the rules, the way, and certain ethics, like for example, not disturbing your neighbors, not proper taking care of the building, proper way addressing even the police. 3 years of squatting, I can't compare it with pretty much anything that I had in life. It was a very unique time, it was a very challenging time, it was a very tough time. At some points it was euphoric and amazing and interesting. At other points it was depressing, grinding you down, nightmarish kind of experiences. But overall, I think it told me a lot about society itself, because squatting is when you live with people constantly every day. It's basically a micro society. It's a micro society, and for me, I got many interesting insights about how people function, how they work, how and I had obviously chances to develop myself, to how to say, to form certain empathy for others. I had this chance, and yeah, this period of my life obviously taught me a lot. The face of squatting has changed, and the movement and the groups have become much more different than they used to be at 90s, from what I was told by the people who are squatting for 10 15 years, who've seen various kind of periods of this movement. Now obviously it's more difficult because residential squatting has been banned, so only places that you can occupy are the such places as shops, as hotels, non-residential offices, and so on. In order to occupy these places, you need to be informed, you need to be equipped, and you need to be organized very often, because obviously offices has their own how to say, set of guards, has their own security, has their own alarms. So usually, from my personal experience, when I was like occupying these non-residential properties myself, it used to be very extreme situations when you have police and you have security guards, and you're trying to explain them that, we are not doing anything illegal, we are legally here, we are not breaking any laws, but there is a certain miscommunication between the police, between the security, and the whole situation is sometimes got out of the control. Again, I do not want to generalize and say that this particular movement is this and that. You know, like squatting has thousands of faces. I want to highlight that every single group is more or less different. All right. So I cannot generalize something and put it under a single label. But certain tendencies that I've seen happening within the groups were quite similar. One of the reasons was that instead of collaboration, people are how to say, people are looking for leaders basically, or they escalating themselves as leaders, and this kind of action can escalate from a complete tragedy to a very funny and bizarre stories. But in the end, this kind of like leadership and division between the group itself would rather create more stress than to create more kind of like organization or better establishment within the group. The other thing, and I believe it is very obvious, it's alcohol and drugs as well. Abuse of it, and abuse, and in some groups the abuse was very obvious, because I want to point out that many of the squatters did not have a choice. Most of the people that I met across my journey were forced into squatting. They either lost their home, they were in toxic relationships, they they were escaping from people, like for example, I met some teenagers who fled from their parents because their parents were abusive, because their parents were involved in abuse of drugs and abuse of alcohol themselves. And there are many reasons why people ended up in these kind of movements. But what I want to highlight that these people, they are vulnerable. They're vulnerable, right? They have more tendencies to be depressed, to feel antisocial, to feel, to feel stress most of the time, when you take into consideration the fact that you might be kicked out any single moment, or you are living in a neighborhood where, for example, this kind of way of life is being overlooked. When you take all of this into consideration, the past experiences and everything, I think it answers the reason why the consumption of drugs and alcohol may, and I want to highlight may because I've seen quite a few groups who successfully managed to ban drugs in their environments, and this is why I want to highlight these factors, that you cannot generalize the whole movement under one slogan. But the bottom line is, it's very important to understand this fact of vulnerability, and in the end, people start to abuse drugs, people start to abuse alcohol, violence, social problems escalates. The last point that I want to mention is disorganization. It's not a secret that the whole movement itself has become much less organized, rather, when we compare it to the 80s or 90s. Reasons why that? Not really sure. I would like to point out that before people used to physically protest. They used to go to address the issue physically. Go with a slogan, do a certain march, even a riot. I'm not saying that this is a right form to protest, but this is a certain form of physical protest. Now what's happening is we have social media, we have internet, and people are spending more time pressing likes and sharing photos rather than participating in actual action, which is happening in reality. I think that's one of the factors which is worth to be mentioned, why certain degree of disorganization has escalated. I would like to say that people should experience squatting, and they should find these moments, bad and good moments themselves, because I think the biggest realization that I had about life is when I found myself living completely randomly with complete strangers, when I realized that my possessions are not that important, that they can be lost at any moment. And when you completely let go, I think that's the moment which can be both the best and the worst. These moments when you feel that you let yourself go, and you